All right. My name is Robin Whitworth, and I have with me today Amy, who is a client in the Elevated Mother Experience program. And I've known Amy for what, 5 years now?
I think so.
And we've been in business circles, we've been in mom circles, we've been in church circles, we've been in all the different ways. And it's been really fun to get to coach with her on a personal level. Amy, first of all, tell us a little bit of your dynamic. We have women of all ages, women with lots of kids, women that are still trying to have kids. Give us a little bit of the snapshot of your season of life.
Okay. So I'm 31. I've been married 11 years, and I've got four kids, three boys and a girl, ranging down from 10 and down to four. So it's a busy stage of life. I've got three in school. We do kind of a hybrid homeschool. So they're home for 3 days of the week and then at school for 1.5 days of the week. And we have chickens, lots of reptiles, a dog, lots of fun stuff going on at our house.
It's fun.
Mhm.
And you and your husband work off and on different projects, yes?
Yeah. He's a scenic carpenter and as a works as a contractor, so it's kind of freelance work for him. And then I did some freelance work in the past year. And then I've also done a smattering of things. I have a couple music students and I clean my neighbor's house. It's just kind of
Yeah.
random.
It's great. It's great to see the different ways that people move about contributing to the world and using their talents and whatever. Um, and you found your way to the Elevated Mother Experience. Tell us about kind of where you were.
hmm
How did you hear about it? What did you think about it? All the way to the point where you're like, I'm in.
hmm Okay. Well, I mean, like you said, we've known each other for a long time. I've followed you on social media for a long time, and I saw kind of everything that you were doing evolve. Um, and it was back, let's see, it's 2023 now. So back in 2022, at like May or something, I was considering joining EMX. And I was kind of looking at like I wanted to do something for me. But I was looking at that, and then I was also looking at taking voice lessons. And between the two, at the time, EMX was actually more of like a should. Like I thought I was supposed to continue, like I'd worked with coaches before, and I'm like, okay, like I have to keep working on myself that way. But what I wanted to do was voice lessons. And it was interesting because like I was trying to convince myself it was time to do your program, but I was like, I just want to do voice lessons. And so I went with what I wanted to do, which was a different choice for me because I've lived my whole life doing the shoulds. Um, but I felt in that moment, God was like, living out what you already know is going to help heal what you're trying to still heal from. So I did like a year of voice lessons and different other things. And then come May of this year, 2023, you were opening up the program again. And that point, I was like, I'm ready for it. This is what I want to do. And just as like it had evolved a little bit since in that year, the program had evolved and just what you were sharing about. I don't remember if there was anything in particular that was like, that's what I'm ready for, but it like, and being in your free Facebook group, like I knew enough. Like I know you enough. You're a freaking amazing coach. So like I knew I was going to have an incredible experience. And the worth and what you share in your Facebook group is incredible. And that's just free. I'm like, I want to get the behind the door stuff. So yeah, and the timing was right. And it was what I wanted to do and I was ready for it. And so then I joined it in June, I think, of this year. And now it's November. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. I love it. I love to hear the evolution. I know that a lot of others wonder what that looks like for other people as well. So tell me what, if any, if there was hesitations, if there was how you got over those. I mean, you talked about the free Facebook group
hmm
and how that really helped you realize that coming into the program would have a lot of value for you. Any other hesitations that you had that when you got in, you realized that were probably not necessary?
Mhm. I think I was worried that it was going to be like too structured and like because like you have the workbook and then you have the one-on-one coaching and you have the group coaching, like all the different elements of it. And I remember kind of being in the first month of the program, I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know, like I'm not following a timeline. I'm not getting all my things filled out and like but and I think that was I don't know if I think it was partially hesitation. I feel like there's so much that has happened in the past 6 months that it's like hard to remember back to like
I
what I was
know.
thinking about back in June. But I feel like it, I was really looking for a place that I could explore myself and my own desires and who am I and what do I really want and how can I just be myself and really own what I actually want and desire. Because I think like I have done things throughout my life that like I want, you know, and I make choices based on what I want because really ultimately we all do. But was it because I actually wanted it or was it because I wanted something that it would give me? Like approval or achievement or whatever rather than just like I just want to do this because it's fun. I had a fun responsibility complex when I first before I came in of just like I can be responsible or I can have fun. But now I'm like I can do both. And going through the program helped me. That was one of those things we worked on at the very beginning. You're like, what if you could have fun and be responsible? It's like, what? That those two could not just like have like little pockets in my life where these are the responsible things, these are the fun things, but that they could actually be in the same bucket. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
On that thread, tell me just a little bit about like what does that mean to you? To be able to put those together, to be able to be yourself. You've discovered so many things in the last few months, like breakthrough,
Mm-hmm.
breakthrough, breakthrough. What does this mean to you? Like you said, you hardly can't even remember just 5.5 months ago. That's
Uh-huh.
incredible. It's incredible. It's kind of like you live your whole life and then all of a sudden it's like I've been reborn.
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, so what does that mean that you've seen yourself do this?
Well, I think it was like just I had a lot of different experiences come up and being able to go through them while I was in the program and like rely on the support of the group coaching and the one-on-ones was like so instrumental in me seeing what was happening through these things in my life
Mm,
and like um some very stress what I would have approached as very stressful situations in the past. It was like no, I like being able to see like I'm actually fully equipped to handle this. I have the skill set, I know what to do, but I don't know that I would have seen that without you and the other ladies in the group pointing it out to me of like you can like you totally have like own that you have the skills, excuse me, own that you have the skills to do this, own that you are way organized and you can actually handle everything that's being given to you right now. And I don't know that I would have owned my strengths in that way had I not had other people reflecting it back to me and being able to just talk through what I was experiencing and what I was going through and what I was thinking. um, and so it was so helpful to just have this space where I could experience that, like experience what it was like to just be where I was at. And, I mean, I don't really know anybody in the group personally. So it was a clean slate. They didn't know me or like my history or how I used to show up in life. And so, and like I didn't really know them. So it's just like I could just show up clean slate and um, not have any judgment and be where I was at. And then to have that just totally embraced. And then also having people provide encouragement into different ways to look at things. So it's like, it's not like the way that I was or what I was looking at it was wrong. It's just like, well, here's my experience in similar situations, or here's some questions to consider that open up my mind to like, oh, okay. It was always so compassionate and non-judgmental, and just like, okay, I'm here. I actually am here. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of hard to explain that feeling of just like, I'm actually here. Cool. Rather than like, I'm trying to overanalyze and go all these other places. Like, no, like, I'm here and I'm doing my thing. And it's great. And I'm effective and okay. So,
So tell me, that's a big deal. It's
mm-hmm,
amazing how many people live out their life, but they're actually not in it.
mm-hmm,
They're actually just doing all the shoulds. I should do this because that's what good moms do. I should do that because that's what a good student does. I should do this because that's what a good daughter does. I should do that because that's what a good wife does. They have these,
mm-hmm.
they live in the
Oh, so
should and
much
they
shit.
analyze everything. How will I be rewarded? Am I going to be supported? Am I validated? Is this? And that can be
Mm-hmm,
common in certain parts of the world, the culture we grow up in. It can be found in religious culture. And to see that you saw that and just me being able to witness it is always to me it's an honor. I'm just like, man, to be able to see this in you and the impact. So tell us a little bit about, as this has evolved for you, what has the impact been to your family, the kids, your spouse, like your faith? What's something that you would like to share with us about when you jumped back into your life?
mm-hmm.
How does that impact the other people?
I think one of the things, because one of the decisions I made in the program is I decided to stop working. I was working over the summer part-time, and it was taking a lot more time than I had initially thought it would. And I decided at the end of September, my husband and I was like, I really want to be done. Like and I like grew a ton through the experience, and I was like, I want to put my creative energy into my home because I was putting it elsewhere. And like, long story short, there's been times where it's been hard for me to be at home, present, and mentally because of just different struggles that we've had in motherhood and marriage and life. And it's just like, I haven't felt like I could fully show up in my home as me, or like my organizational skills or my structure skills um, wouldn't be received well, or my fun, crazy wouldn't be received well. That like, I'd be the um, weirdo, and so it's like being able to see that, like, um, to kind of own that I do really want to be in my home and utilize my skills and who I am and be present in my home. Um, since I stopped working, and really like held to that decision, because um, yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing with that, but the point being, I've been able to. We decided to rotate the bedrooms in our home, and like, because when we moved into this house 4 years ago, it was the week I had my youngest, and my husband also started a new job, and we got in a car accident. So like, it was like a week, years of life changes in a week. So we came into this house in chaos, and we didn't really get to set it up intentionally. And I've we've been able to reset that and like really settle into what we want our house to be. And I've been able to have the time to do that. And I also feel like I have more clarity, like emotionally, and like a mindset space of like, our home can be what we want it to be. And even what I want it to be, because it was a hang up sometimes to be like, well, I don't know if my kids still want to keep this toy, or if my husband's going to like it if I move this. But it's just like, you know what? I don't like it. I don't want it. If they really want it, they can go buy another one. But just be able to like own my place and bringing my full presence back into our home. And I feel like I've been a lot more just present and less snappy because I'm here and I want to be here, rather than like being here but mentally other places.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful. Can you imagine?
yeah.
Just imagine the future of a family that never has their mom mentally present or emotionally available, and you just flipped that script in 4 months. Like, it's going to shift so many things. It already has. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was one thing? This is the last two questions here, but What was one thing that really surprised you about the experience? Something that you maybe thought was going to be different, something that you were just like maybe even caught off guard at first, or I mean, you
Hmm.
mentioned that the structure looks different than you thought, but anything in
Hmm.
particular that you were like, oh, I didn't, I don't know, something that surprised
Yeah.
you, something that was new for you, maybe.
Well, I think I don't know, I had to laugh, I have to laugh because honestly, it was you as a coach, like how you
Mm,
approached coaching. I because I've worked with other coaches before and even done a little coaching myself a couple years ago. And just the way that you approach helping us discover, well, I know you do it for other things, but I'll speak for myself, helping me discover like my own thoughts and things inside of me rather than just like, oh yeah, like I totally hear why you're feeling that way and blah 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 blah. Here's what you can do, blah 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 blah. Like you asked questions and you also like the first couple times we did one-on-ones, like your face was pretty like expressionless as I would talk sometimes. And I'm like, what is she thinking and feeling? Like, am I doing this right? Like, is what I'm saying okay? But you just keep this very calm, neutral demeanor that was like new to me, of like, and like I wasn't trying to say things in a way that would get you to respond in a certain way. So it allowed me to be really honest with myself. Um, and and then you would ask really great questions that would be like, well, I'm really curious as to why that's coming up for you, and I wonder what that could mean for you. And then you would also still share like wisdom or like from your own experience, but it was a lot less of like, here's my prescribed things that I know are going to work for you, and it was a lot more of like, cool, thanks for sharing your life story, what do you want to do about it? Like reflecting and turning the responsibility back onto me, which as somebody who has lived my life in a lot of should, that was something I needed to be like, no, actually, like you have full autonomy in this situation. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. And that was just yeah, that surprised me, but it was also totally what I needed to just really be able to take ownership and you just be like, no, like this is your life. I'm like, you can do whatever you want, but like I'm not going to tell you, here's some suggestions, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. You got to make your own life decisions. And just like, okay, I'll take responsibility. I'll make these choices, but it's so hard. But you were like so loving and encouraging in it. So yeah.
and I think that's where the value of the group comes in too. Like
Yeah.
we hand you back your life, and sometimes that
Mm-hmm.
can be really new.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the group and you're like, really? Are we all doing this? And you see all the moms doing it. You're like, okay,
Uh-huh.
this is a good thing. It's beautiful to behold. I'm glad that you shared that. So beautiful. I don't think anyone's ever shared that on one of our testimonials, but it is something that a lot of people will mention. So I appreciate that. Okay, last question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Somewhere out there, there's a mom in a similar situation as you. She's her and her husband are up and down on what they do and then what they work. They've got kids. She's been living in a lot of shoulds. What do you tell her about this program? What's like a little piece of wisdom that you just want to throw out there for her, whether she joins the program or not? But what do you want her to know? And then if there is a piece about the program you'd like to share, you can.
I think I want her to know that it's safe to slow down and be, that all the shoulds, all the things you're doing to try to feel okay aren't ever going to get you there.
Mm.
Like you're not going to feel okay by doing more. You're not going to feel settled by meeting everybody else's expectations. It's it's got to be a it's hard to slow down because then you find yourself. And sometimes that can be scary, especially just in my experience. Um I didn't really, I mean, it's a constant journey of discovery, but I don't feel like I really knew, or I knew in the back of my mind, but I wasn't willing to own what I wanted and who I was and the things that I liked and enjoyed because I'd grown up doing things on some level for other people. I still had my own interests and things that I did, but there was also a level of I'm doing this to get something from other people, to get approval, to be okay, to be accepted, to um and so but it didn't ever get me that peace of mind to just be able to be like, this is what I want and I want it. Okay, like period. And so allowing yourself to slow down and then finding, and I think this is where the program was really helpful for me, was finding a group of women and a group of moms in particular, because motherhood throws a whole different curve into self-discovery and the time that you have to put in it and all the different emotions. But having a group of other moms that could support in that journey and in that space to show you that like you can show up, you can be, and that's all that's necessary. So
Got chills when you were, like that stuff. All the shoulds will never get you the piece that you're looking for. That's powerful. It's
yeah.
the title of your next book, or I don't know. Sounds like a book. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much. Thank you for
you're
spending
welcome.
your
Thank
time
you.
this morning with me to share this message and what it's been like for you in the program. So awesome, awesome. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
You're welcome.